In this video, we're going to start setting up our first floor by drawing in the walls and the walls for our basement. Now, last video we set up our elevation, so all our heights should be correct. What we want to do first is double click on ground floor in our project browser. To draw a wall, we just need to come up to our architecture tab and select wall. Now you'll see in the properties box it's defaulted to basic wall brick 270. If I click on that, I can choose from any number of walls that are in this dialog box. For this project, we want to choose brick veneer 250 timber. Now before I start drawing my walls, I want to set up a few things. The first thing is, you'll notice up here in the height, it's set at 8 meters. Now I want that to be 2400 as per my ground floor, so what I want to do is click on this box here and change it from unconnected and tell it that I want it to go up to first floor. When you do that, you'll notice in the properties box it automatically updates my unconnected height to 2400. Next thing I want to do is, you'll notice if I click and start drawing, the blue dashed line is where my dimensions are drawn from, and it defaults to the wall centerline. If I have a look at my drawing here for the house we're doing, my measurements for my wall here are based on the outside of each exterior wall. If I went ahead and entered these dimensions while using the wall centerline option, I'll find that once I've completed the house, my house will be smaller than what I expected it to be. So as I'm using my dimensions from the wall exterior, I want to click on this and say finish face exterior. So I'm going to start drawing in my walls now. I'm going to start from the left hand side of my house. Click once and you'll notice that my blue dotted line is now on the side. In fact, in this case, because I'm starting on the left hand side of the house, it's on the wrong side. So my exterior is actually on the interior of the house. Now that is easily fixed. All I need to do is hit space and that'll flip the orientation. If you're ever confused as to what you need to do when you're doing any step, just have a look at the bottom left down here and it tells you what it's expecting you to do. So in this case, I've started my wall. It's saying to enter wall endpoint, and if I hit space it's going to flip that orientation. So I'm going to go ahead now and make sure that's at 90 degrees, and I'm going to start typing in my wall dimensions. Now this particular one is 10250. I'm going to type that in, press enter. Across the right, start typing 2000, press enter. We're going to come down 2400, cross to the right, 7493. I'm going to go up 6400 and across to the right 8500. Now my next wall here, I know as per my drawing it's 6250, so I could type that in, or I could move this wall up as I know it's parallel to this point up here, and look for that blue dashed line. And that snap that in at the right height there, 6250, left click once, and I know this wall joins up, so it's just a matter of coming along to the end of the wall, left clicking, and I've got a completely closed circuit. Once you close off a wall, it will stop drawing it. But to get out of the wall dialog, you press escape, and there we are there. Now you'll notice if I zoom out, my house is sitting a little bit too close to this datum and this datum, and it's not really center in our drawing. If we go into elevations, that's where we really see the negative impact of this. So in this case, my building is sitting over my titles, and if I go down to my south, it's sitting all the way over the left here. In fact, it's not even on these dashed lines. Okay, that's not the ideal situation for this case. So to fix that, double click on ground floor on my floor plans, and left click and drag a box over all my walls. Move my mouse over and you'll see I get the crosshairs there. I can now left click and drag and move that to about center. Go back in my elevations and it's looking a little bit cleaner and nicer now. Next thing I want to do is I want to draw in my basement. So I'm going to choose basement, from the floor plans in the project browser, and you'll notice here I've got a clean sheet. What would really help me in this case is if I could see my ground floor, so I could draw my basement using those existing walls as a snapping point. To turn that on, I want to go into my properties box over here where it says underlay. It's currently set to none. Click on that, pull it down, and I can choose any one of my floors to be my underlay. In this case I'm talking about ground floor, so I'm going to click that, and my ground floor is shown here. I'm going to zoom in using my mouse wheel. So now I'm ready to start drawing in my walls. So back up in the architecture tab, choose wall. It's remembered that I'm using brick veneer 250 timber. It's guessed, because I'm building underneath the floor, that I want to go up to my ground floor and set my height to 2400. And remember that I am measuring from my finished face exterior. Okay, to start drawing, all I want to do is look for the snap point, start drawing down, and you'll notice that the dashed line is on the right hand side, and therefore the exterior wall is on the wrong side again. So we just hit space to flip, snap to the end of that line, left click once, snap to the end of that line, left click, and we're going to start drawing in our basement. Now I'm going to draw it out to the right here. We're looking for that blue dashed line to say it's snapped up with our right wall. Click again. We can always zoom in if we're having trouble selecting our snapping points to make sure that's lined up correctly. And there we go, my basement is complete. Now it can be hard to visualize sometimes what's actually going on here with our black and white 2D drawings. If we come up to the top here, we have a button that's called Default 3D View. If we go ahead and select that, we can see our walls, and that's where our house is starting to look. That completes this video. In the next video we're going to look at creating a topo surface for our house to sit on.